We have been on the Hayduke Trail for about 600 miles now, crossing through 4 of Utah's national parks, deep into some very remote and trailless expanses of desert. And now we are far off into the depths of the Grand Canyon in northern Arizona. It is a canyon that is larger than the state of Rhode Island, a canyon that is more than 6 times deeper than the Eiffel Tower is tall. A canyon that is 18 miles wide, and a canyon that comes with some incredible extremes, which provide a lot of interesting variance in the plants and animals that live here, as well as some very challenging conditions for us to hike through. Along our trip, we have been very fortunate to run into 4 others who are hiking the same route that we are. Only 4 people in 600 miles is incredible in its own right. But in this case, it's the quality that matters. Dave and Hillary we met early on and spent a couple days with. Then Dirty and Jar we've been seeing in just about every other town along the way. All incredible people, and it's nice to see them and get to know them for the brief times when our paths converge. Especially so considering we've seen absolutely no one else for most of our days out here. In the canyon, we are extra fortunate in that Hillary has caught back up and will hike most of this section with us. Hillary is from New Zealand, and prior to doing the Hayduke this year, she hiked the Arizona Trail as well. Something not many ever have done before, will ever do in the future, or would ever really want to do. 1,600 miles of desert is what she has experienced. As beautiful and as good as it gets, but still a very unforgiving landscape to spend so much time in. Since she is from New Zealand and my partner Sprocket is from Australia, it's extra fun for me to hear about local things of the Great South Islands that otherwise I would surely never be a part of. Hillary was previously hiking with Dave, but he had to return to London as his work would only offer so much time off. I think he went from the Hayduke one day directly onto an international cross-Atlantic flight, and then the next morning back at work. A feat of strength that is far greater than this trail itself. We all very much so miss Dave, but his spirit lives on with us whenever some cool rock climbing bit comes up, as we know he would enjoy it more than most. So the 3 of us continue on. We'll be in the Grand Canyon for close to 250 miles, and above all else, this is the hardest section of our entire hike. The temperature on the rim of the canyon is about 30 degrees cooler than down at the bottom where we are. So for us, that means a nice summer day at the top is like living in a microwave at the bottom. Temperatures for us soar up to 115 degrees as we hike. Breathing is difficult, thinking is difficult. I'm drinking more water and electrolytes than I ever have before, consuming them at an alarming rate just to stay alive. It's truly unbearable, and each day we wind up dealing with it by finding a shaded spot and just sitting there for 6 hours without moving until temperatures drop even just a little. Without doing this, and we would certainly all be in very serious trouble. So that is 6 hours of just sitting. So hot, it's hard to even talk to one another. A ridiculous thing to do, but we have no other choice. What do you see?
I see the Colorado River and a little yellow boat.
Huh.
And the South Rim and the North Rim.
Okay. What rock? You trying to kill me? Trying to take me out? For the true Grand Canyon heads out there, our overall route enters the park on the northeast side. Descending down the Hayduke Trail, we hike along the Colorado River and then have to hitchhike across it from some kind rafters. We then join the Beamer Trail to the Escalante route. Roughly following the Colorado River this whole time, we contour the rock layers. We join the Tonto Trail near Horseshoe Mesa and make our way west to the main corridor of the park, where we will ascend to the south rim using the South Kaibab Trail before doing it all again 2 more times. Next up, we will hike rim to the north, and then descend back to the bottom of the canyon a 3rd time, into some of the most remote places within the park, off to the west. It's a crazy route, and that is what I love about it. This is far from the most direct way of doing things, but it feels like we truly get to experience the Grand Canyon in a way not many ever have before. We get to spend nearly 2 weeks down here, hiking among ancient rock layers and seeing places no one else ever does. The Arizona Trail, by comparison, goes through the park as well, but barely scratches the surface. The Arizona Trail is also 800 miles or so in length, just like the Hayduke, but you're only in the Grand Canyon for about 30 miles, whereas we're in the Grand Canyon for roughly 250. So it is quite the difference. This is one of the most beautiful places in the entire world, one of the most awe-inspiring, one of the most treacherous. I feel incredibly lucky to be here, and given the hardest 20 miles of this entire trail in Saddle Canyon are still coming, I feel like we've barely even begun. A quick piece of advice for anyone in the future. The permits for the Grand Canyon are logistically very difficult, and you should take them seriously. It is not just for your safety, but they also help to protect this landscape as a whole. We personally ran into 3 rangers while within the park, and all of them very much so cared about our permits and whether we were on schedule.
How many moves did you do?
I don't know. I wasn't counting. Like 2. Just a hop and another hop. Woohoo! Do your research and do your diligence to do them right. In the end, the rangers want to work with you and want to help you, but it requires some effort on your part to help them. We got our permits back in March and are here in May. We planned out every day when we would be in the park, where we would be camping, and we stuck to that. If you find that you are ahead or behind schedule, get in touch with the backcountry office while you are in the town of Tropic or Jacob Lake prior to entering the park. This way you can revise your itinerary beforehand. If by chance you find that travel through the canyon is easier or much harder than you expected, you could revise your permits again when you are at the south or north rim. But please, just do the planning, as it is part of doing this hike and experiencing this landscape for as long as we get to. Some of the rangers are through hikers themselves, and they understand the difficulty of what we are trying to do and the pain of permits. But please don't run the risk of ruining it for everyone else in the future. Getting to spend 200 to 250 miles within the park is an extremely special thing, and the permits are just a part of that. Just don't step on that big one. What an incredible view. The Grand Canyon is significant because of its geology and the views that creates, the different layers of rocks, the depth in which you can travel down, and the different environments from the top all the way to the bottom. But the canyon is also special because it is home to a wide array of interesting animals, and some of which that can only be found here and nowhere else in the world. The pink rattlesnake, which is colored pink more so than the typical browns or grays that most snakes have, is a great example. Its pink color comes from the needing to blend in with the weird hues of the different rock layers you'll find within this park. Blending in to protect itself, but also to be a better hunter in this environment. The pink rattlesnake lives deep in the Grand Canyon and nowhere else. On the north rim, there is also the kaibab squirrel. In color, its main body is a very dark brown. It has very bushy, tall ears and a silky, perfectly white, wide, fluffy tail. Our friend Hillary calls them the Batman squirrel because they have a resemblance to the comic book character in color and silhouette. The kaibab squirrel lives on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, on the Kaibab Plateau, and nowhere else. It is an animal that I very much so wanted to see when hiking the Arizona Trail, but did not get the chance. These two animals in particular are very rare to see, but given the amount of time we will be spending in the park, I very much so hope that we can be so lucky to spot them. The canyon is also home to bighorn sheep, which can scale the rock walls with ease, but which would be impossible to us. There are bison on the north rim, which roam the Kaibab Plateau. There are even elk here, which I don't believe are native, but instead were introduced first for hunting. Mule deers live both within the canyon and on top of the rim. I personally find them to be really funny, how they seem so curious, and instead of fleeing from potential danger, will just stand perfectly still as if that danger just won't notice them.
Did you learn Maori?
The giant ears are always so funny. They're like, if we be really still, no one will know we are deer. There are even mountain lions which live down in the canyon, which would be unbelievably rare to spot, though not unheard of. I have a friend who had a crazy encounter with a mountain lion and its cub while they were in the canyon, which sounded like quite the harrowing experience, as somehow they accidentally found themselves in between the mother and baby. It's kind of funny, but if you had to guess what the most dangerous animal is in the Grand Canyon, what would you think? The animal is maybe surprising, but it is the squirrel. Squirrels are the cause of more injuries in national parks than anything else. People who don't know better feed them and get bit. Or that squirrel maybe equates humans with food and then goes off to bite others. I don't think these bites are life-threatening, but it certainly wouldn't be fun, and the bacteria in the rodent's mouth may lead to worse problems. So please, keep your hands off the squirrels. Overall, I'm happy to see just about any wildlife on any trail that I do. From the canyon wrens and the Steller jays, to the funny squirrels that are maybe a little too used to humans being so close. Whoa. The greatest sign in every national park, everywhere. I'd love to see some of the more rare species, but I think that will involve a little bit more luck than anything else. Still, given that we will be in this park for about 250 miles, I think luck is on our side. So for now, we rest on the south rim before entering the canyon again. preparing for the most talked about section of this entire hike, the most feared and maybe the most overhyped. It is hard to know until we do it ourselves. You made it! Woo!
You did it! Wow. Uh-oh. Raven fed.
Over the crackers.
Stressing. Ooh. I forgot we were here.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Look at that. That's an Indian god. We could see that trail really well from outside.
Yeah.
You could see people out there and stuff.
That's where we just were, you guys. See the flag?
River, a lot of times in the spring, as snow is melting from the mountains that are
Like really cool four-wheel drive roads, and I'm like, oh no, there's no roads. And they're like, no, where no rangers will catch you. See, it's waiting. Good, look at how well you can see. Would you be okay with taking a picture of this? Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
Thanks.